Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Sudden Valley Finance Committee, 6:30, for our first Finance Committee meeting of the year. Thank you all. I'm going to try to pick up where Lori left off and keep the Finance Committee rolling right along. We're going to have, we always acknowledge our land and racism statements. They can be found on the website. But just to
sorry.
summarize.
Sorry, I was a little late.
Oh, yeah. Just to summarize those, we acknowledge that we are gathered today on the ancestral homelands of the Coast Salish Peoples, and that Sudden Valley Community Association stands firmly against racism in all forms. So let's see, I'm going to take roll because my phone doesn't show everybody at once. Taimi?
I'm here.
Great. Kathy is here.
Taimi.
Yeah. Rob?
Hello, I'm here.
Great, Rob. Rick Gray's here and Mary is here, correct?
Yep.
All right, and we have General Manager Michael Bennett. And Joel, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Perfect. Okay, so everyone's here. So we'll adopt the agenda. I think what I'd like to do is have the latitude to change the order of the agenda to expedite our meeting, if that's okay with everyone. Any additions to the agenda tonight?
I'm good.
All righty. So I think what we'll do, there are no minutes. This is our first meeting of the year, so no minutes to approve. Any announcements?
I've got nothing.
Okay, I don't have any either. So Joel, we're going to have you wait a little bit. I'm going to have Michael go ahead and present these capital requests so then he can excuse himself and we can go on with the other.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, Michael. All yours.
Great, Rick. And I assume everybody has the detailed capital request forms there. I only have the agenda in front of me. The first are the road projects, and this is the design and permitting for the 2026 road project. So according to Tyler and Mike Brock, of course, I wasn't here for your previous road projects. The reason that we need to get this design and permitting in place now is the lead time that's necessary so that we have all this in place for the 2026 projects. So this is for the design and permitting part of it. Now you'll be getting actual 2025 road work here later in the year, but those have already been designed and permitted. So this is capital request for impact design and PNW, along with allowances from the roads reserve fund or capital expenditure fund for the $41,888.
I had a question for Joel. When I was digging into this a little bit, doing a little research, I noticed there were two lines in our capital road projects, lines 30 and lines 130. They both were listed at 20,800. So I'm wondering if that was a duplication or if they're different items. They add up to about the 41,600. So I think it's appropriate, but I just didn't understand what the difference was, Joel.
Let me look it up here real quick.
What were the lines, Rick?
30 and 130.
Yeah, so 30, that is plan.
They're both described as the same. That's why I wasn't sure.
Yeah, at 20,800.
Yes. And the other one is the same, and it's also for 20,800.
Yeah, that looks like a duplicate.
Did you say 30 and what was the other line?
130.
130.
Yeah,
but
pretty sure that's a duplicate unless you want to give us twice as much money.
Oh, well, That's, the one on 130 is for the culvert design and permitting, and then the one on 30 is just for 2026 road projects design and permitting.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that's correct. So Rick, the one we're talking about is line 30.
So, well, so third, oh, so is it just the one? But they're both,
Yeah,
Well, the
one is
paperwork,
for
this is what I
culvert design and
thought was-
permitting, and the other one is for roads projects, design and permitting, non-culverts.
Right.
so it includes both of those lines.
Yes, they're both the same amount though, Rick. We're
Yeah.
only talking about line 30 today
Okay,
for roads.
gotcha. Thank you.
You bet. Yeah, and I can bring up those capital request forms. Really, folks, I apologize. I don't have the technical answers to the questions, but I'll do my best if you have any.
So I don't think I have the 2025 proposed budget. All I have is
So-
the 24.
I pulled it off of the annual meeting budget.
Okay,
It's
okay.
buried back about page, I don't know, 59 or something like that.
okay,
Um,
okay.
So that's where I got it. It went to
Okay.
the,
Does everyone
page.
else have one there or?
I don't have
Just
it with
me?
me, but I have it from last year.
Actually, you can see that, Kathy, if you go right to the website, the main page, you'll see one of those, it's like the top radio button. It says, here, I'll pull it up right now. It says,
Okay,
Yeah, and if the committee, see, I print these out in 11 by 17 because they are so small.
yeah,
And they're multi-page.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're- if you try to read them on the website, you're gonna go blind.
Yeah, okay.
I-
I don't know if I can pull it up from here and maybe just print.
Michael,
That's
do you
why-
think you
No,
could
Kathy,
print
if you go
do
to
you
the
think
main
you could print
website.
a copy of each of those on the 11 by 17 for everybody in the committee, and they can either pick it up or I can drop it off to Kathy. I know where she lives.
Sure,
I can go print it, but I'm not gonna do it during the meeting right now because I gotta close this and get out and go back to it. So
It's
it's
nice to
okay.
have it on this big format, which my printer doesn't do that.
Okay, okay.
yeah, of course, everybody who wants an electronic copy, if you just drop me a quick email and I'll print them tomorrow morning when I come in.
You
Sounds
could do a
good.
couple. I would like to have it in the big format too, because I find it so hard to read in the small format.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, if you don't mind to send me just a reminder, and then all the office is down home, so I would farm that one out to them if anybody was here.
Okay, thanks, Michael.
Yeah. So I guess any follow-up questions on the 2026 design and permitting for the road projects?
Nope.
Again, that's a mixture of, 20,680 for impact design, PNW is 5,400. You can see we put an allowance.
yeah,
We have technical, utility expiration, and permit fees plus a contingency. So we're looking at the 41,888 on that.
right.
So Rick, this is Rob. I
Hey, Rob.
would move that we approve the capital request for the design and permit of the 2026 road projects in the amount of $41,888.
All right, thank you.
Second that.
We have a motion to move and second. Any other further discussion? All in favor? I guess we raise our hands or say aye or something.
Yeah, my video's not working, so I will just say I'm raising my hand.
Yeah, let's see.
Hand up,
Any,
Andy,
oppo-
that's-
any opposed? Just vocalize. Okay, so that carries, yes.
Rick,
All right.
Rick's hand is up on the screen. Is that a question, Rick, or a vote?
That was a vote.
Yeah,
Oh, great. Yeah, I'll remove your, you can lower your hand. Thank you. Unless you want to vote yes on everything. That's great.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, 25 potholes and minor road repairs.
Okay, potholes, minor road repairs. This is the roads budget has 37,856 in there. This is, of course, taking care of potholes. And this is directed and managed pretty much by Mike Brock. So this is an SVCA maintenance staff performs the pothole and minor road repairs. And so this is that request for 37,856. Pretty straightforward. They do a combination of cold patch and rolled hot patches and filling. So wish I had Mike here to answer questions tonight, but he picked up a sickness. Family came down from Alaska, and he's going to be out for a couple days.
So I found this on line 60 in that big printout. Look, this is pretty routine. Any questions on that? If not, I will move that we approve the 2025 potholes and minor road repairs for $37,856.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? If that works. All right.
Just a comment.
Yes.
Just a comment. Michael, maybe Mike might, if it's, I don't know if this is out of scope or if there's, if depending on how it's funded, but there are a couple of speed bumps in Sudden Valley that are so long and tall that my van, there's people I've just had community have said, oh man, I'm always bottoming out on these. There's some problematic speed bumps. I'm not saying get rid of speed bumps, but
Sure.
and I hope maybe I'm taking a right turn here, but I don't know if this is part of paving and pothole repair, but there are problematic speed bumps. Just a comment.
Rob, maybe you could
Rob, if you-
identify where those are and send them to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, to
Great idea.
modify one speed bump, Rob, is going to be at least $5,000. Right, you can go out and mill it down, or depending. This will be one that we'll have to have Mike Brock go out and look at them if they're too tall, and some of them you just may have to eliminate and redo and make them a speed hump, with more of a gradual incline going up and down. So, but would you email to me and Mike Brock at the location of those, and we'll get a look at them.
Absolutely. I'm not saying we should eliminate speed bumps, just some are big. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised talking with Mike how expensive it is to put one in. He said it's, depending on how wide the road is, $15,000 to $20,000 a piece.
Really?
So it's a huge investment. Yeah, because they have to channel out a notch in the road so that it's a thick enough material that it doesn't slide off or break down or whatever. So it's more of a project than you'd think.
Seems really high. That
I
seems
know.
excessive.
I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but
But there's a lot of requests for them.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, there are
Yeah.
some fast drivers around.
Okay.
All right, let's see. 2025 fast response.
Okay, this one again is the budget that we have on the roads budget includes $91,936 for, this is fast response for unforeseen drainage issues, you can see from the capital request. And again, this is administered through Mike Brock, but the the scope of this is something that sometimes we have to call out other contractors, and that's what this is. It's it's money that hopefully we don't have to spend, but it's something that traditionally you've needed as a contingency. So this one looks like kind of pricey, but if you take a look at how many culverts and swales and so forth that we have, this is I think money well spent. So again, this one is capital request that's administered by the maintenance department.
How much was spent last year on that? Do you know?
I do not. Joel, you have anything on that? How much we spent on that?
Or, what is this now? What project?
On the
Yeah.
fast response?
Last response.
Or drainage, it's on the, it's line 64 presently. I don't know what it was before.
Yeah, Joel will have a different code for it though in the,
Yeah.
in the P&L. Yeah, can you look that up, Joel, while we're moving on?
So it's about 60,000.
Okay, so we spent 60 and the ask is 90, or the amount that's in the 2025 reserve study is the 91,000.
Okay, I'll move that we approve $91,936 for the 2025 fast response unforeseen drainage issues request.
Second,
Any further discussion?
No, I just think it's important for them to be able to move if there's an emergency, so, we've
agree.
seen
Yeah.
that past.
yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
good point. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? All right, another unanimous. All right, then, 2025 on-call engineering services.
Okay, and again, you'll see this in the capital request here. This allows funding to address, I like the way Mike Brock put it, emergent roadway and drainage infrastructure issues. So that means unexpected and things like the bomb cyclone that pop up. But this is for road,
Yeah.
not trees. So this actually has a request to transfer some unused funds from the 2024 account code 9924.2. Joel, do you see that? Mike Brock is, I think we identified there's 2,000 that was unspent from 24. So Mike Brock's asking that there's a
What are you talking about?
two-part motion.
On-call engineering services, Joel.
Okay, so what did you want to know about it?
There is a leftover from last year.
Oh, okay.
Capital code 9924.2.
I guess
Joel.
there's $2,000 left over that we didn't spend last year.
So, okay, so for this one,
Mike wants to add it to the 43,260, or excuse me, to the amount.
so at the end of December, we spent 38,253, which means we have about $33,350 left of this line item.
So he's asking for 2,000 of it from 2024 to
Well,
be
I think he wanted to close out the account though, so
right.
don't we want to move over the total 3350?
Yeah, I think the 2,000 is an approximation, whatever the total
Balance.
is, he wants to move, he just wants to close that out and move it to this year.
Yeah. Is that something we can do, Joel?
Well, I mean, probably the easiest thing to do is just go ahead and approve it at what he wants, and then we'll just stop spending on the current line item and close it out and leave it at $3,000 under budget.
Oh, okay. Well, it'd be, if you take 2,000 from that, it'd be 1,350 under budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
All right, we'll leave it the way it is then. Sounds like a plan.
Right. So Mike's looking for what? If you're reading it the same way I am, 45,264.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yep. All right. So I'll move that the on-call engineering services for 2025 be approved for 43,264 plus carrying over $2,000 from 9924.2 and closing out the balance as an
For Joel.
underspend.
Or as per Joel, because it's not gonna be a total zero the way the motion is.
I've got a question with regards on this request. It says motion 1 is the 43 and motion 2 is just zero out last year.
Ah, right.
Good call, Rick.
Yep, good catch. Okay, so motion 1, move that the board of directors approve the allocation of $43,264 from roads for on-call engineering services in 2025 with funds to be administered by the maintenance and facilities manager.
Second.
Second. Oh. Taimi,
Okay.
you
I beat you, Rob.
Okay,
Great.
moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of motion 1, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, and then for motion 2, move that the board of directors approve the balance of funds in capital code 9924.2 to be added to the 43. Well, actually, let's change that. Move that the board of directors approve transferring $2,000 from capital code 9924.2 to be added to the $43,264. The balance to be closed out with a surplus
As per Joel.
per Joel.
I'll second that one too.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 And
It's
opposed?
an easy night tonight. They're not all gonna be this
I know.
easy.
Yeah, I know. We're just getting, this is a good
It must-
warm-up meeting for me.
It must be our new treasurer just, making things happen.
Right,
Well,
right, right.
Some of this is allocating the funds that our team needs to be able to take care of the roads.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Taimi, are you the one taking the minutes?
I'm not doing anything.
Oh, okay,
I can do the minutes I can look at the transcript tomorrow if you want me to do minutes.
okay. Rick, do you have a scribe in this?
We'll sort
I've
that
got
out
things pretty
tomorrow, Rick.
well, I've got it pretty well down here. Well, actually, I don't have who's.
Can I make
I
a
don't know.
suggestion? Can I make a suggestion, Rick? Why don't we use some of the AI note takers that Zoom utilizes? It does a really good job of providing a summary.
Yeah, it can transcribe off of the recording as well, but
Could do that too. That's another one.
I
Yeah,
want
I
to
can
make
do
sure
it
I
with my
can,
Word program as well.
we
yeah,
use, the nonprofit I'm involved in, we use Fathom. And it is excellent. We all love it.
Mm,
In fact, we don't have a secretary anymore because of the good notes it takes, but that's just us.
yeah, my point, Rob, was to try to capture the change in that motion. Because I'm gonna have
Yes,
to reflect that change on the board packet as well.
absolutely,
I can-
Michael.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt as well. I could pull that off tomorrow. I can do the minutes, not a big deal.
Okay, guys, thank you. I mean, if you
Thanks,
want.
Taimi.
Yeah, thanks, Taimi.
yeah, thank you. All right, E, 2025 ditches, culverts and swales.
Whoop, brought up the wrong one. I have got, there we go. Okay, and again, this affectionately known as CVC, I had to ask what that was. So this again deals with having the 130,000 from the 2025 CVC project. And also here to authorize some of the leftover balance from fast response. So this one again, Joel, you might want to take a look at. So it's a two-part motion here again to request 130,333 from roads for the CVC project, with the funds being administered by maintenance and facilities. And the second is to take unused funds from 2024 fast response, and that capital code is in there 9924.1 to be added to this balance. So that, again, you've got a two-part one here that Mike is attempting to make sure that we have sufficient funds in there for, well, hopefully any contingency, but we'll see.
And then actually there's a divided allocation between maintenance and outside contractors that's not in the motions. Do we have to have that?
Who's the outside contractor, Rick?
Well, actually, it just has 67,774 allocated to maintenance. That would be our maintenance department. And then 99,559 allocated. I don't think they know who the
That's from the
outside contractors are. It would be from the on-call contractor list, it says.
That's from the previous list that we had three. One was trying to think of the names of I was looking at them. One is Tiger Engineering, one is there's three. They are listed and they are on the list. So they have been identified in another motion. And I saw it today, but
Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't include those in here. There are three in order though. You're right, Taimi. That way, if one's not available, we go to the next one on the list. And
Right.
Right.
It's from the fast response, which is. Sorry, I know I read it and I saw it, but I can't find the exact page.
Yeah, I apologize. I texted Mike, but he's pretty sick. He may not see the
No,
text.
it was in a previous. Give me 1 second.
Do we have to name them right now? Or
It's Stremler Gravel, Dirtworks, and Tiger Construction. They were named in the fast response request. So that's the same three that were in the fast response, which was from page. They're named on page 11 of 24. Stremler would be called first, Dirtworks second, and Tiger Construction third. Same thing, same order for this request.
I have a question for you, Rick.
Yes, go ahead, Rick.
So under this proposal, it shows 67,000 for the maintenance department and basically $100,000 for on-call contractors.
Right.
Is that pertinent? I mean, do those numbers really make any difference? Because they're not really in the motion. I mean, do we have to come back and make an adjustment if we spend those dollars differently between our maintenance people and the on-call contractors?
That's a good question. I think if push came to shove and we ended up our guys being able to do more of it and not rely on so much on outside or on-call contractors, that's probably the way it would be broken out. I don't know
Yeah, I don't know if
that's the
they
way
have
I
a
would
different
read it.
code that Joel has for in-house versus out-of-house, or that, I'm just curious if that makes any difference in our passing of these motions.
So would it just be under budget and over budget for those two numbers? Is that how you would put it in?
Yeah, oh yeah. Which project is this that you're talking about specifically?
So-
We are on culverts and swales, where we have
Yeah, CVC.
6774 for SVCA and 99,559 for on-call. So if we spent less on on-call and more on SVCA maintenance at the end of the year, would you just say SVCA was over budget, but on-call was under budget, but the numbers were, I mean, how would you account for that?
Yes, you're talking about, I'm actually going to this, okay, so the CVC And there is two different line items, one for the SVCA staff and the other one for outside vendors and so on and so forth.
Right.
Yeah, so those two line items will literally just be treated as one amount, meaning like it'll be like two buckets inside of one bigger bucket, so to speak. So Taimi's right in terms of this. If one is over but the other one's under it, it doesn't matter. It'll just net out.
So we could just leave it one number and not worry about the breakdown.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you could go ahead and put that. We'll put the breakdown in there as according to what the what gets approved. But like you'll see when I pull up the capital amount or the capital project report later. But like there will be a footnote that'll say this project is made up of like SVCA staff and outside services, but the two like are counted as one. So if one goes over and one is under, it won't concern the overall spending of the CVC project in and of itself. As long as the bottom line of that project line item is at budget or below.
Right.
Meaning like if you made it I'm just making this up real quickly, but if it's like 200,000 for CVC roads, 100,000 for outside vendors, 100,000 for SVCA staff, as long as the whole thing came to 200,000 or less, the breakup of those two won't really make that big of a difference.
Got it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are going to carry over roughly 37,000 from the prior year's account to help beef up what we have planned to spend.
Yeah, the 2024 fast response, that is added to the request for capital code. Yeah, so 9924.1, Joel.
Okay.
Right, so, Rick, you wanna read motion one? Do you wanna?
I was going to let Joel see if he could find that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just figured like while he's doing that, we could read the
What you're
motion
saying is
and,
we'll just go ahead and close out this project and stop the spending on 2024's fast response and use that surplus to beef up the CVC.
Yep.
That's what you're saying. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so we'll move the 2025. Let's see, motion one. Move that the board of directors approve the allocation of $130,333 from roads for the 2025 ditches, culverts, and swales CVC project, with funds to be administered by the maintenance and facilities manager. Here a second.
it's usually a race. I was giving somebody else a chance.
Any further discussion? Questions? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, motion one carries. Motion two, move that the board of directors approve the balance of funds in capital code 9924.1, approximately $37,000, be added to the 2025 CVC budget of $130,333, and capital code 9924.1 be closed out with a zero balance.
Second.
All right, any further discussion?
Nope.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 We're flying
And
through these. Nice job,
And
guys.
opposed? All right. And F, 2025 street signs and pavement markings.
Okay, pavement markings, or striping. Let me find mine here. I'm one out of order here. There we go. Thanks for your patience. Okay, this is the $30,000 that is in the capital plan. And we're looking at a little bit of a budget overrun on this one. 31,805 is what we're showing needed from the estimate, but that does have a 10% contingency. So I would imagine we're gonna stay within the 30,000. So that is the request here. PMW services, there's a 10-hour allowance to help put the bid package together, contractor selection, contract facilitation. The centerline repainting budget is the 25,563.65, and then Mike Brockett asked for a material allowance for signage. So while they're doing that work, repair and maintenance on miscellaneous signs. So that's what makes up the total ask of $31,805.02.
All right. Seems pretty straightforward.
Yep.
So the motion is move that the board of directors approve the allocation of $31,805.02 from roads for the 2025 street signs and pavement marking repair project.
Second,
All right. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
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 good.
And opposed? Okay. Now we are into the nitty. Let's see. Actually, yeah, we'll go to G. Lower Austin Creek Bank Stabilization.
Okay, and again, this one, there were some questions on whether last year Joanne and the board agreed to put this on hold, but it still made it into the capital budget. I wanted to put it back on there because it is in the capital budget, and I toured that location on 2 occasions with Greg Wadden. My concern there is that between the creek bed in that one area and the community garden, there's barely the width of a golf cart now. And if you walk out there, the bank is undermined. I wouldn't even want to get up near the edge of it. So my concern here is safety for one. And if this is just for the permitting and planning, you know, you're probably looking at, you know, minimum $150,000, $250,000 to stabilize that whole bank. So the question is, you know, after talking with Keith initially, and yeah, I wasn't here last year when this was deferred, you know, the argument being that, well, it's a 100-year flood that we had. I think it was back in 21 or 22. But my concern is if we don't do anything, I would at least like to block up both ends of that to where golf carts don't go through there. In fact, to that end, I've asked Greg and Mike to put some logs at each end so golf carts can't drive through there right now, because I'm just afraid that bank's going to give away and somebody's going to go down in the creek or worse.
Where are you gonna reroute the golf carts then?
Well, that'll be up to Mike and Greg, but if you go out there and take a look at it, I would not want to drive a golf cart over that right now. So, Taimi, do you have any background on that?
A background, but I just had a question. When we deferred the any changes there is because it looked very stable. Now, do we know, is it the whole area that was originally looked at that they thought was unstable after the flood, or is it just a smaller area? I would assume from the costs that it's quite a bit of a smaller area, and you're just kind of hedging, like slowing it down on around the edges.
Yeah, again, I don't have all the history on this, but I did go out and put eyes on it with Greg. And the one section closest to the community garden there, the bank is undermined. And it's probably only about 8 feet width, 8 to 10 feet. So you may not get another flood and that bank may stay right where it is. But my concern in the long run is that if you do get another gully washer, there's a good chance you're gonna lose the part of the community garden, because that's where that water is going. So,
Here,
yeah, I'm not saying that you have to spend the money, but I would recommend though that we address the safety issue.
Michael, I have a question for you. Are we talking about by the bridge after 8 going to 9? Or are we talking about the golf cart track that's on hole 7 next to the garden?
Yeah, it's between Austin Creek and the fence of the community garden, that little strip right there is what we're referring to. The bend in the creek it's eroding the bank right there. And that's the main concern. I think that the engineering study would probably look at recommending bank stabilization for the whole area there. But, you know, again, I don't have enough data on this to give you a definitive answer. All I can tell you is what I saw when I went out there, and we can make it safe by making it a walking path. It's not a golf cart path, actually. But you can see where people are driving their golf carts over it. You know, it's a little shortcut.
Got it.
I'm not really sure where that area is.
So let me.
I'm pretty familiar with the golf course and around the community garden and stuff. Like Rick was saying, is it from hole 8 to 9 where you go across the bridge, or where are you talking about?
Yeah, give me just a second. I'm bringing it up on Google Earth, and I'll share my screen with you so you can take a look at it. Okay.
In my brief research, it referred to 4 different locations along that stretch of the creek that there were some concerns about, and I'm not sure that all 4 are needing to be addressed, but it sounds like this one particular spot does need some attention. We don't want to create the precipice for an injury there.
No.
My thought is, I don't know if we took any good pictures after the first big storm that caused all that damage. And then you could do kind of a analysis of then and now. You guys, we had a lot of rain in December here.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was a lot of rain here in December. So some of that damage that you guys were looking at could have been additional from just all that rain in December.
That was the impression I got, that Greg's comments from the golf course side of things said that there was noticeable degradation in the bank there.
Is that going to be an ongoing issue though? I mean, are we better off just to make it safe and let the creek do what it's going to do and redo the paths?
I think
Because
we
you
need to
could
get more information on this.
Good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me share my screen real quick, and let's see if this will help here. All right. Can everybody see the screen?
Yep, there it is.
Okay, so the area that we're talking about is this area right here. So this photo is not doing it justice. See this bend in the creek where my hand is?
Mm-hmm.
This distance from the edge of the community garden to the creek now is only about 10 feet. Now, you see how it's not that distance right there. This edge of this creek has done this right up into here. You should go out and take a look at it. You can barely get through here safely right there with a golf cart. And I wouldn't even call it safe. This big tree right here has collapsed into the creek. So that'll give you an idea of where that is. So the stream bank, if you can see my little hand here, the stream bank does not end here anymore. The stream bank is all the way up to here.
so that's affecting the golf cart path?
Well, this is not an official.
No,
I don't think so.
no, it's not a golf cart path.
No, the
That
golf
must be a
carts
garden
come
trail,
path.
across the bridge and then over.
Yeah,
They don't go
Okay,
that way.
There's,
see, I I'm not a
Good.
golfer, so you guys would know better than me.
It would
Yeah.
be more, it's more of a gardening path or something for moving dirt or
Yeah,
Yep,
not
weeds or
sure what
whatever.
that is.
yeah, but that's the area we're talking about right here, folks.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll get that off the screen here for you. So again, I don't think we have to spend this money right away, but I told them to go ahead and put some, like I said, some either boulders or large logs at each end to keep, so no golf carts are cutting through there. You can still walk through there. It's safe to walk as long as you don't go up to the edge of the bank, you know.
Yeah,
Well, my feeling is it's our property. I would not, I would want to take care of it and not have it just slough away into the creek. This situation, it may be apples for orange, but it reminds me of Washaway Beach down by down in Grays Harbor, down there by Westport. Where that beach, just the ocean just literally just ate it away. We're gonna continue to have wet weather and I mean, if it's $500,000 and we maybe have to make some other kind of decision, but I don't think we could just say, well, we'll defer it for 2 years and see what happens. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, the initial ask here is just for design and permitting. So, you know,
Yeah.
if we spend the 25,000 and decide not to do anything right now, then this is kind of wasted. You know, it'd be a sunk cost.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
So is it- do you think it's possible to get an assessment without the total big design and permitting?
Yeah.
Or how helpful would that be, I guess, and I don't know how much that would cost, but
yeah, it's a waterway, Rick, you know, you can't do anything without the permitting in there.
Yeah.
So that's,
no, I was just I guess looking for more of an assessment of how predictably stable or unstable the bank is.
I mean, my question is kind of like what Kathy said, is nature's going to do its course and Sudden Valley only has limited funds. Would we go and spend $200,000
Probably not.
to keep that bank anyways, right? Like, I don't know. Do we have that much money?
Well,
And
then if we
I hear you, Mary, but I guess on the another side of that thought is, at what point does it stop sloughing away? I mean,
It's
I mean,
nature.
okay, so 25 years, does it end up taking out some of the parking lot going up into that old ice barn? Because it's working that way, right? Isn't it?
yeah, it's actually working toward the community garden, Rob. So, you know, but
Which eventually abuts up to a roadway, doesn't it?
yeah, I'm not a geologist. I can't tell you that, but I will tell you by walking out there and looking at it, I identified a safety issue. And I think we can address the safety issue right now, but the questions you're asking are, you know, those have got to come from somebody like Chinook Engineering, because,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
they're the ones who, you know, the solution is obviously driving piles down in it and putting a bulkhead behind it, or dumping riprap, you know, the big concrete blocks. So, but I am, you know, I'm not an expert in this, but I wanted to bring it up. I had to put it.
No,
I mean, you
and I
could-
think that's great, but I think too, like spending $30,000 on something that we don't have $200,000 to spend on anyways right now
True. Yep.
might be just,
Let's get paid the big bucks. I'm just,
well, if we're gonna pay the big bucks, like, we're gonna have to pay the big bucks, but we don't have the big bucks right now. So why spend 30 to say, oh, well, you know, 2-3 years, you're probably gonna have to spend these big bucks, which would happen anyways. So that's.
You'd have to re-engineer it at that point too, but you know, you could
Exactly.
stabilize, yeah, the one side and then it could switch to the other side, because if you look at the least resistance, it would actually move to the other side and take the other side out.
Well, I have a couple points. First of all, we put that bridge in a couple years ago, and so upstream of where you're talking about, Michael,
Yeah.
we did a lot of erosion control upstream, just upstream of that bank, and where that bank is, erosion control around that bank. And I'm not sure whether anything that we did with Austin Creek in that area had anything to do with what we're experiencing today. I would highly recommend
Yeah.
that we do something safety wise. I mean, golf carts don't go there unless it's Greg's, because golfers don't go there.
Yeah.
But Greg may do it for his maintenance, but
Yeah.
it would seem to me that we would want to put some kind of boulders or logs or something that with a warning sign that tell pedestrians don't walk along this bank. But
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's already in progress. You're gonna see the logs or boulders here within the next couple of days.
okay.
But, you know, we'll put signage up. But, again, this was one that was in the reserve study, in the SERV. So that's why it's on here.
So, is it ever the situation where we don't have a strong feeling of supporting something, but we bring it to the board to let them decide? Because that it's the $200,000 thing that is the most challenging point
Exactly.
of this whole thing, and we're not going to be in a position as a committee to make that decision, I think.
No.
Well, Rick,
So-
this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
But even if we said, let's just say the committee disapproved this, we would still take it to the board saying the finance committee is voted to disapprove this, but you guys still have to make that decision.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Or we recommend further study be done on this before we can
Yeah.
approve it.
Yeah,
would be our
that's what I'm
recommendation.
wondering is if we take more of a neutral stand until we have more information, but to take to the board to bring it to their attention, that Greg has brought this up. He's noticed additional erosion and so I don't know, do we have to make a recommendation one way or the other, or just can we just take it to the board and say,
Well, I can
Needs
say
to be
that
looked
we,
at.
of some kind.
I can say that we did not approve the $30,000 for this.
Yeah,
Because that
I
was
agree.
what the ask was.
I would agree.
okay.
Well,
And
Can
we-
you say
Into
why?
consideration for sure.
Well, I think a lot of consideration because it's a lot of money and we need to spend a lot of money in a lot of places. So I'm not sure
Yeah,
You
I
know,
get- I
whether we
get
have to
what,
move the community garden over a little bit more and add some boulders or who knows, right? Like, who knows
Yeah.
what Mother Nature's gonna do? But
Yeah.
to fix that situation, it won't be $200,000. It'll be way more than that.
Do you think so? Yeah.
No,
Yes, yes,
you're
in the long run.
You're rerouting a river away from a
Yeah.
community garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So,
I hear you. Yeah.
Chris,
Well, if enough erosion takes place, it'll be a straight creek pretty soon, right? It won't have a curve in it anymore.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And you know what? There's nothing we can do about that.
Right, right.
Um,
Okay, so, well, let's see, I'm going to,
Rick, Taimi's
make
got her hand up.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
okay.
Taimi's got her hand up.
Rick, I was just gonna say, I would recommend, like, in that we don't recommend it, but we also, this is paraphrasing from me, what I think we're all feeling, is that
Mhm.
we would like to see, more information about this. Like,
Without spending $30,000 to get more
Yeah.
information about it.
maybe it just means like, doing some plantings, like, do some minor work.
Just
Well, respectfully, and I'm gonna go with whatever the committee is, because we're a team, but more information and then saying we need vegetation, that doesn't sound like more information. I think what we're saying is we don't want to spend this money, but we would like some other mitigating factors that maybe an experts or something might suggest that's not $30,000. Right? I mean, to me, more information would be some kind of other study or a cheaper study or something, but to me, that's facts and data.
Yeah.
Am I wrong, Taimi? I mean, that's, to me, that's not, to me, more information.
I agree with you.
I think, yeah, so what I'm hearing is that we make the motion just motion one and defeat it. And with the explanation that we'd like more information and to consider alternative proposals, not just this one, whether it's
expensive ones.
replanting or something like that.
Mhm.
Do you want to put a budget with that so I can figure out who?
What's the motion?
It's you know, it's a waterway, so you can't hire a handyman. You know, it's
Yeah.
gotta be somebody who has the, you know, bona fides and the credentials to be able to propose something, because, you know, the county, and that was the purpose of this. So was to get you more information, right?
Yeah, which is great, but the fact still goes down to, okay, we get the information, we spend 30,000, and they say, okay, we got to spend 250,000. Well, we're not going to spend the 250,000. Probably not on that right now.
Yeah, all I'm asking is if you want us to get more information and more bids and so forth, we can do that, but I think that you'll find that these guys are the only game in town. And they're, you know, these professional engineering companies, their rates are all gonna be about the same. So, you know, if you want more information, give me an idea of a budget or give me some clear direction on what you want us to do, and we'll do it. I don't, you know, I'm just here to present it. You guys are just.
Yeah.
Michael, Michael, question: Does PNW have a fee in this request? Is there? I'm sorry, I don't have the.
Yeah, they have a 12-hour allowance for meetings, design oversight and permit.
1,600.
1,500, yeah,
It's 1,600.
yeah, out of the 25,000. The main thing is Chinook Engineering. They're the design and permitting.
For 18,000.
3,000 for the fees to Whatcom County for the permit, and a 10% contingency. So,
Salmon Creek,
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
is that a Salmon Creek?
It is.
Is there,
It's considered a Salmon Creek.
would there be grant money somewhere to maybe stabilize it?
That's a
There
good
might
question.
be. That's a
Yeah,
really
that's a
good question.
Yeah, all of the 2025 grants have been awarded. So the whole grant cycle is, you know, 18 months out at least. So
But
there
still,
are, I'm sure there
but
are.
still,
I've already looked into a couple of them for controlling the fragrant lily pests on.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the grant cycle, folks, is, you know, 18 months, 2 years out before you get any money. So.
but still would be 200,000 spending on fixing that. So would it matter? I mean, if someone else paid for it?
Well, normally those are matching grants, so that
Sure.
at least.
Half and half.
Okay.
Okay,
Part of it. But,
Better than the whole thing.
yeah.
Yep.
right,
So,
yeah.
so do we know with the design and permitting, is that just for one plan, or is it alternate plans of varying costs?
So Chinook's scope of work here,
I didn't see the.
attached it for you there.
Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Feasibility, alternatives, drawings, construction.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go down this road, I think, you know, the proper thing for the board to do would be to have PMW and Chinook come out and give you a more detailed explanation on it.
Yeah.
Maybe just a consultation versus doing the actual work and the permitting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, 'cause-
just because there's a lag and I'm gonna put my hand down now on my little computer. I would say just to do the right thing, we do the motions, we do not approve them, and then explanation at the board meeting is that we feel that this project is really expensive and, you know, all the reasons. But we defeat the motions. And then, you know, our reasons why is presented at the board meeting.
Yep. Sounds
Good with that?
That's totally the way I feel. I don't think we have the money to fix it right now, so.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
so-
Okay, so
Yeah.
Rick, you want to read motion one and we'll kind of, we can still have discussion, but let's kind of
Yeah.
work through this.
Right. Okay, motion one, move that the Board of Directors approve the allocation of $24,882 from SURF for the 2025 Austin Creek Bank Repair Design and Permitting Project.
Yeah, I guess
Second?
we need a second just so we can vote
Yeah.
on it. So I will
Right.
second it.
All right. Any further discussion? So we're proposing to defeat it and then Taimi and I can explain the reasons for it at the
So
meeting.
all in favor, nobody put your hand up. Is that where we are?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. All in favor? No, 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 no. Okay, all opposed?
I'm
Say
opposed.
aye.
Nay.
Say aye,
Opposed.
yeah.
We're all
Oh,
opposed.
oh,
I-
Okay.
Unanimously
Yeah.
opposed.
So the motion fails. And then Taimi and I will explain our thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you do it.
Yeah, okay. Sure, why not? Okay, I think we skip over H until after, to let Michael go
Yeah,
away. So we have
well,
one
do we
more.
wanna, do we need to even do motion two? Does it matter?
No,
No, okay, so we've,
no, because we didn't pass one.
Yeah.
okay,
That was
so now
only-
we're on
that was-
to Joel gets to
So
present our
actually,
financial.
I forgot, I was going to amend the agenda. And if you'll allow me to do that, we were going to talk about a golf course fairway top dresser replacement.
Yeah,
Oh, I did see that in amendment 3, but I did not print it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not sure if they can put it on there anymore, Rick. I think we've kind of passed,
Yeah,
we'll just have, I think we'll just have to present that to the board without finance, committee
well,
looking at it.
so I consulted with Michael about that and he said the advance notice requirement did not apply as stringently to committees as to the board.
I think she's referring to amending the agenda, Rick. Is
Yeah,
that right?
yeah,
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm making, so we did not amend the agenda. I don't know that we can, I mean. I'm not really, one to have these rules, but that is what we were stuck with. And
Yeah.
I think that we didn't present it at the beginning. I don't think we can really look at it.
Yeah, but the board can as well. It's a pretty straightforward piece of equipment. It just
Yeah,
it is.
got it.
Yeah.
That, I apologize, just got it on there to do so. And
Yeah, but
it's time sensitive for ordering it so we can get it in time.
okay, that's my bad. I should have done
Oh.
that. So, yeah, so now we are to H, which is I wanted to have a brief discussion about the bylaws, the limitations, because the board is going to be faced with probably requesting to fund some additional funds for the barns coming up later this year. And I just wanted to have the finance committee, you're probably more aware of it than I am, but familiar with the limitations of assessments that we can impose if it's not an emergency. And basically, if you saw the addendum, our bylaws limits that assessment to 15% of what our monthly or what our dues are, dues and fees. So that ends up working out to, I sat down with Joel last week and it's just under $25 a month. That's what it works out to. And it generates a little over $800,000 in a year. So if we had a barn project that was going to need an extra $2 million, we'd have to have an assessment for 25, 24 something for a little over 2 years, basically. So just kind of an informational thing to think about, that we may be face making a decision about later.
Is,
Any questions about that?
is this fixing the barn or replacing the barn? And is the community gonna have a say in this, or?
Yeah, so the board just handed off to long range planning to come up with various proposals, and then the board will decide whether it's building, repairing, doing both, in what order, what's going to be in it. All those questions will be answered.
Yeah.
The plan, I believe, will be to have a lot of communication through the view and probably a town hall or two to share
Definitely
that
a town hall
information.
meeting,
Yeah.
definitely.
So that everybody understands the thought process that goes into what the recommendation or decisions the board makes.
Could we send like a survey out to the homeowners too? Like,
So-
you know, before
Not-
the AGM and say, okay, this is gonna be the special assessment for
Mhm.
this or
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
And like get some real feedback from them, because town hall meetings, like 10 people show up, right?
Well,
On this one, I think a lot of people are gonna show up just because it's a
Yeah.
hot button issue.
well,
It is
I
a
mean,
hot button issue. I just want to
it's
make
like-
sure that the whole community is involved in it. And I know that's really hard to get everybody.
It is. It is. It's a
involved.
challenge for sure. And so there was a front page article on the last view that the long range planning committee requested people express concerns about what they want from SVCA, long range planning, to plan for. And
Good.
so that's a start. We'll probably keep running that type of article every month for a couple more months here to get input and feedback in regards to more specifically now. That was because that was kind of a general question about any projects. The next probably a couple of additions will be more specific about the barn or barns.
Perfect.
And it may
I
take more
haven't
than
gotten
one
my
time.
views yet because I live in Canada. And, you know,
Oh, yeah.
it'll
Oh,
come
those
like
damn
6 weeks from
Canadians, aren't they? Well, you know what? When you're in Cabo, Mary, like really, you try to use that one. You're in Cabo.
I know I don't have it yet.
No kidding.
It's-
Trying to track me down.
Sorry, I did have it forwarded to your resort, you know, as you were laying in your lounge chair with your, you know, like glass of wine, but you know, your server did not get it to you. Sorry.
No,
Really
I'm
my
just
fault.
saying it just takes a long time for that views to get up to Canada. And you know, it comes online faster than it gets us.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's a big waste of money mailing it.
Oh, hey, you know, you're preaching to the choir on that
Do you know how
one.
much it costs for
Oh,
the
that's
views to get
expensive.
mailed to
It's
my house?
expensive.
$202.56.
You know, I think that Mary's right, though, that
Meetings are worth it.
a survey would be helpful. And I'm wondering if there are so many talented people in our community. I wonder if there are some marketing minds that might be able to help us. And how do you better deploy that? How do you get people to respond to it? How do you word the questions?
Oh, that's part of the challenge is
Yeah.
not formulating a question that is begging for a certain answer.
Well,
You know?
like
We've
the
seen
marina.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, and by the
Right.
way, Ken's sitting beside me here,
Oh, no.
and he just said Canadians are worth it. That's why we send those expensive papers to you.
That's right.
Not that you're
That's
not
right.
both Canadians as well.
Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to get that piece of the puzzle kind of out in front of us as we think ahead, but that's good. That's good information, good thoughts about how the committee and the board should proceed in making that presentation.
I think
So
if
let's-
anybody
let's-
has any ideas, they ought to generate those ideas and pass them to the long range planning committee as the central focus in gathering those
actually,
options.
Yeah, yes. that's the intent, is for this long range planning committee to be doing the most of the grunt work here, and then letting the board sort out the details. Okay, so I'd like to move on now and have Joel present our financial.
Okay.
And just before, Joe, just before
Oh.
you start, I just want to thank everybody, our new members, because I was late coming on, and especially two of our members are joining us from vacation. So I really want to thank everybody for being part of this committee, because I know it's really important. And I think our first few capital requests that we did were pretty easy, but that last one showed why we need a committee. So really appreciate you all. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll second that.
And it's good to have a healthy discussion of different ideas. I
love
like
it.
Absolutely.
All right, Joel, I'll shut up now.
And Rick, I'm gonna drop off and let Joel
Okay, yeah.
do this thing, if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah, thank you, Michael, for your help tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Michael.
Thanks, everybody. I look forward to working with you, and thanks for making me feel welcome.
Always
Appreciate
good
it.
to see you, Michael.
Good.
Take care.
Thanks, Michael.
Take care.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, take it, everyone. I can tell that it looks like on Zoom, this thing is, you can see the balance sheet right now.
Yep.
Okay, so. Now, these are the most interesting financial statements because obviously it's December, so it's year end for December 2024. So, and now we can see the entirety of 2024 and year end results, especially as it relates to operations, which is the most important part as it relates to that operating budget. And, I always start off with the balance sheet, and obviously this is what you're looking at right here, the balance sheet, but, probably maybe a couple things that are interesting for the balance sheet. I did point this out at the board meeting last time, but you can see if you're curious, like October, November, December, Kevin accepts prepaid golf memberships like annual green fees, cart rentals, storage fees, stuff like that. And you can see that October through December of 2024, he took in $112,307. Last year, interestingly enough, at the end of 2023, October through December of 2023, they took in $112,089. So they're literally just, a couple $100 over what they took in last year.
The other big jump was the building completion deposit fund, right?
Yes, yeah. And this line item, this is obviously where we capture all the building deposits that people paid, builders with builds going on. And you can see how it's gone up, $243,500. Obviously, there's an offsetting liability right here for the building completion deposits. I have pointed this out before to the board, but there's the deferred library lease revenue that last year where we got the $40,000 from for leasing out that library, and that $40,000 that we originally got in is a part of this transfer. It was transferred out from operations to capital to pay for the HVAC system and over there at the library as well. Now on to the most interesting statement. So the income statement right here. So literally just bottom line for operating net income right here. Obviously, this is the entire year, 12 months through 12/31/2024, and you can see the operating net income is real close to 306,000, 305,870. At the end of last year, it was 231,629 of those published statements online, and so obviously we're better than budget by the exact same amount because we budget to break even for the year, revenues and expenses. And here on the income statement as well, so the board approved in December for that bomb cyclone event, for that windstorm. They approved a couple line items. So they approved out of the roads fund, 228,131 for available spending out of roads for tree removal and chipping and debris collection from the roads itself and roadside tree type falls. Then also another 251,424 was approved out of the SURF fund for hazardous tree removal, on common area grounds related to the bomb cyclone as well, that November storm event. And you can see easily, so that's coming out of capital funds is where I'm getting at with that. So the regulatory compliance line item right here is where hazardous trees is captured for operations. It's also captured here, the capital reserves line item. You can see this is commingled together both surf and road spending. So through December, $290,809 spent out of the combined total of both roads and surf. And now through February, there's an additional about 30,000 spent out of the surf hazardous tree fund for the bomb cyclone. So pretty much between December, November, because that storm event happened like November 19th is when it struck. But through the financial statements, like through February that I can see today, another 30,000. So that means now we're up to about 320,000 for the bomb cyclone, which is actually so far less than I think what we were anticipating to be spent at this point.
So Joel, do we have final numbers for the bomb cyclone?
Yeah, so so the final numbers right now would be 320,000. So you can see 290,809 reported through December, and then through February, we have about another 30,000 that has come in 2025. So far, we're up to about 320,000.
Are we going to get anything else? Or are we done?
I guess that would kind of be more of a question for both Michael and like Diane, but definitely, like, I can tell you this, the pace of the invoices and the requests coming in have really tapered off. And so, possibly we're kind of getting to the end of this at this point.
All right, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah. But like I said, the one good thing though is we do have it for operations at the end of December, about 306,000 of surplus over and above what we budgeted. And obviously, might as well, let's get a segue into this. So our collection rate.
97.9, huh?
Anyways, that's the collection rate right here. 97.9% at the end of December for the whole year of 2024. We budgeted for 95% collection rate. We also budgeted for a 95% collection rate in 2025 as well. But so we came in at 97.9% collection rate. At the end of December 2023, we came in at 97.93%. So basically right on par with where we came in. Actually, I think like if I pushed out the rounding of this, we just edged out what we did last year in 2023. So our collection rate was fabulous. And what that means is the operating fund for operations got an additional 82,395. Surf got an additional 49,397. Roads an additional 50,326. Mailboxes $913. That's the amount of money going to those funds over and beyond what we budgeted for 2024, which is ultimately helping out this bottom line right here for 306,000. Obviously, what goes to operations is just the additional surplus is that first number, that 82,395. The other numbers obviously go to capital reserves.
I couldn't help but notice on this page that when you look at our revenues that are collected from members directly in terms of dues and assessments, and then you look at the 10 or 12 lines underneath that are essentially non-dues revenue, we got 2.2 million in non-dues revenue. That's a lot of money flowing in that we're not having to pay through our dues.
Right. Yeah. And you can see some big line items like golf, an additional 134,000 what was budgeted. And of course, this is a big one right here. The new home construction fees, additional 188,150 right there in that line. Now that's a
Mhm.
huge increase that we didn't budget for, but obviously last year when Joanne raised the fees, like the new home construction fees and extension fees and so on and so forth, that is what is really increasing our operating surplus and a huge component of this.
That
300
won't go on forever, though.
yeah, like as bills obviously start to trickle down, it won't be that high.
Yeah.
Unless we intentionally keep people from finishing bills, then they have to pay the extension fee. So that's maybe one thing the finance committee can look into.
Yeah, but if we do that, we're gonna send you in the middle of their lot and you're gonna have to, so
Uh,
you're not gonna wanna do that.
Okay, so now this page, of course, this is an interesting page because this captures all of the reserve cash balances, the important reserve cash balances, like SURF, roads, UDR, that's a huge one right here. Obviously, mailboxes, just a small amount. But you can see that, I'll just quickly just point this out again, like the beginning cash, we'll just look at SURF, this first column here on the left, 3,627,018. Now, if I went right back to that balance sheet, there it is right there, for the beginning, which is the December 31, 2023 balance, 3.627 million. And then the December 31, 2024 balance, 3,072,000. If I quickly go back, we'll see that amount right here. And then basically in between here, you can see like the major buckets of changes, like cash received for dues, interest income. There are the transfers right there, 105,600 that was done earlier in the year 2024, and there's that 40,000 that was done for the library for that amount of that lease renewal. The expenditures right here, these are all the checks, all the cash that went out the door on projects and loan payments and so on and so forth for SURF. And then down here, now if this were any other month, you would see like basically projections, like based on 95% dues, how much more dues we would take in for the rest of the year. But obviously these are zeroed out because we're at the end of the year right here. But this is the most interesting line item right here. This obligated expenses holdings, basically, let me just go ahead. So just keep that number in mind, that 1,005,545. So now what you're looking at here, and this is the addendum number 2 on the website. So there's that 1,500,000 or 1,005,545 here for SURF. So these are all the open projects that the board has approved. Obviously, some of these are already marked closed. We'll close those out. But like if we look at this last line item, well, actually, there's the hazardous tree removal right there that was approved and as you can see, it was approved on 12/12/2024. So you could go. The nice thing about this report here is what's really handy is, and I go back to this all the time, where I'll go back, and look at the original agenda, the board agenda, December 12th, and I can go and actually pull up what went by, in front of the board exactly, and obviously I update this, but if you ever wanted to go back and find that original motion that went to the board, you just look at the approval dates on here and you can cross-reference them back. But you can see that there's approved for 251,424, 64,113 invoice so far at the end of December, which means an additional 187,311 could be spent out of this line item. And since the board has approved 251,000 to be spent, but all of these add up, as you can see, this far right column, to make 1,005,545. And second page is these are all the projects for road. Remember when we were talking about the CVC, that question, here's a perfect example where CVC outside contractors, that went over budget by 8,772 just for that little bucket. However, the 2024 wages, these are internal wages, SVCA maintenance wages and benefits, that is under budget by 9,696. So that whole project is still under budget by 924. And there's a footnote right here that says these two amounts are the same project. But this the same thing for roads in terms of the open projects, and this last one has the UDR amounts. So you can see any open projects for UDR. There is a little note in case if anyone read this, but basically back in November when the bomb cyclone first happened, the executive committee approved 95,000 to be spent for the roadside tree removal out of UDR. Then it went to the board to be ratified on December 12th as well. And then it was ratified, and then immediately it was deobligated because that amount is now being spent out of that roads line item that I talked about, which is right here. Roadside tree removal. And you can see at the end of December, 226,697 was spent. Obviously, we would expect that since that's where the huge bulk of all those cleanup costs went to clear out all those roads.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can see then for SURF, then the board recommended carryover balance. This is basically an amount that the board would not like to drop below 600,000. So basically they're saying they want to have at least 600,000 of that account. So if you take this 2,066,000, subtract that 600,000, there's your available amount, 1,466,804. That's if we went and spent all the money on all the obligated projects right now on SURF, but we cut checks for all of those. This is how much more we'd have to spend on other stuff, future stuff. And it's the same drill for roads and same thing for UDR. So there's the $27,040 that if we went and spent everything that's obligated to be approved to be spent out of UDR, we'd spend another $27,040. That doesn't mean we will, but if we did, because sometimes these projects will be under budget or the board will deobligate things if they decide there's no need to spend any more on it and so on and so forth.
So theoretically, if we needed $1 million to put towards one of these barn projects, we could take it out of that SURF 1.466.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So whenever the board approves something out of SURF, like whenever you approve a new project for 50,000 for SURF, then this amount right here would drop by that amount that was approved.
Gotcha. So for the Austin Creek, would it come out of SURF or roads?
Yeah, that'll come out of SURF.
SURF also?
Yeah.
I mean, just theoretically, I'm thinking.
And actually for Kathy, I'll just show you real fast, as I said, because you had a question of where to find the budget, like the 2025 budget. So right now we're looking at the main website here, obviously for Sun Valley. But the handy thing, so this annual general meeting radio button here, I believe that's what they call those things. You just click that and scroll down, and there's the town hall budget right here that was presented. And this is the entire budget document. Then you could just download and you'd have the whole PDF right there and you could zoom in and out and whatever you wanted.
Yep. That's what I
helpful,
did.
Joel, thank you.
Yeah.
So I've always had a curiosity about the board density reduction fund.
You mean, what is it? What does it mean?
Yes.
Yeah, so basically, this is a pot of money that is sitting there that could be used to acquire lots and turn them into green space, in a sense.
Okay. It's
And
not
It's
trying
not
to
what we really want to do, right?
not trying to decrease the size of the board.
Yeah. That's right.
You're out, Rick.
Okay.
You're the newbie, you're gone.
Yeah, that's right. I'm gone.
Yeah, our goal is to get the board down to 7 members for now. But that's not the long range goal. That's just the short.
Yeah.
He's on every committee, like, we can't get rid of Rick now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to like density reduction, somebody else on the board.
Okay. Yeah.
The ultimate goal on that is to get the board down to just me. Is what,
I think you might have a conflict of interest.
That ain't happening, buddy.
yeah, I've determined the board meetings will go faster if it's just me.
Yeah. Yeah, there wouldn't be much debate though.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they'll be at midnight, so that's what no one's gonna show up.
Yeah, that's right. Now, this next page, I'm going to skip over this page because this just covers it, and we'll just cover one more page, and that's going to wrap it up for the financial statements because these will be the most informational pages. But this shows the current month only. So this is the income on a departmental basis, current month only for December. So let's go to the next one. Here's one year to date that covers the whole year. So there's that. Remember that $305,870 for the surplus. Here it is. Right here. And up above, this is showing you every single department broken down, obviously by department, how it contributed to that line item. And then the operation dues is down here, down below. And since I always, I'll talk about golf real fast, so I'll highlight the golf line items. So you can see here for actual revenue for golf, for all of 2024 is $1,424,436. At the end of December 2023, it was $1,468,110. So it's about $43,674 less than 2023. But keep in mind, 2023 was the best year that golf ever had here at Sun Valley. So
yeah, it was one of the driest years, and 24 was one of the wettest years. So that explains probably about $65,000. Oh,
right, yeah. And in terms of for the all other expenses, here's the actual salary benefits, 818,914, and plus the all other expenses, 445,684. This is all operating expenses. That comes out to 1,264,598. Last year, at the end of December 2023, all expenses for golf, operational expenses, 1,221,397. So these have gone up by about 43,201. But obviously, that's going to happen with the CBA and so on and so forth, like with the guaranteed increases in pay and it just, this is the cost of everything in general going on. So you can see the net income for golf, 159,838, and this is golf and turf combined. So that's what that is, golf and turf, golf enterprise. So net income, operating net income, 160,000 essentially. That's 95,381 over budget. Better than budget. Last year, the net income, operating net income for golf was 246,713. It's a combination of what I said in terms of their revenues being higher by 43,674 last year, their expenses being lower by 443,201. So obviously those two have that net effect to create that difference. Second line item I'll point out real quick, Marina, right here. So you can see the revenue, 248,110. Now this is reflecting the increase in the marina rates that the board approved at the beginning of 2024. So at the end of 2023, obviously, which did not reflect those sizable marina increases. They went up a little, but not to the extent in 2024. The revenue was 188,297 for the year for 2023. So you can see that Marina took an additional close to $60,000 more in revenue, which was pretty much largely related to the Marina fee increases. You can see just the bottom line, the net income for Marina, 233,726. Last year was 175,968. So the Marina has a operating net income additional amount of close to 58,000 over the prior year. Then you can see ACC Security in terms of like this huge increase, 162,000. That was largely related to new home construction fees, additional 188,000, which we pointed out back on the income statement. Common costs, this is pretty much related to like increase in legal fees over budget by about 100,000. But I would say for the most part, those are the big highlights. Of course, Rick pointed out before when he was talking about the special assessment, that 15% special assessment. So the bylaws say that a special assessment is limited to 50, if it's non-emergency information or situations, it's limited to 15% of total dues revenue for that year. So if we were to do a special assessment for 2025, then we'd be limited to we could collect 828,846. So at a 95% collection rate, that would be $23.31 a month for
My question, yeah.
And then whatever the dues go up to in 2026, then it'd be 15% of those dues. And the bylaw references dues. So like all dues, operating capital dues. But I would say those are pretty much, so right now, if you were to do that at maximum, I'm not saying you're going to do this or anyone's going to do it, but if you did, then you could raise an additional 828,846 for 2025. That just gives you an example, mathematical.
If they were to build, say, like a big new clubhouse, okay, I mean, it would be financed, so you wouldn't have to worry about getting huge assessments. I mean, that 800,000 should cover it, correct? In payments?
For like the barn.
Well, yeah, and like say you didn't do the barn, say you built a new one or whatever you did, if you made it nice, we're not going to try to just flat out pay for it, would we? I mean, is that
I guess we just spend on.
what the public wants,
Are you
basically?
asking if we can do a mortgage, Kathy? Like,
Yes,
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
yeah,
which we can.
and we can assess for it, correct?
Against dues.
Yeah.
So if you, okay,
Partial.
how many, is there limits to how many years you can assess for that?
It doesn't talk about that. It pretty much, matter of fact, if we go, matter of
If you
fact,
did something really nice,
matter of fact, here it is right here, like in the bylaws, like
Mhm.
on the website. But where you can see special assessments limited to that 15%. Now, if it was like an emergency situation, like
yeah,
say like covered in item C, done, like a barn 8 situation, maybe that could be a different situation. Then at this point, the dues 15%, it wouldn't necessarily be limited.
My video's not working.
So I guess it would just come down to, of course, that's kind of the question floating around, like, what is it that really needs to be done with the barn 8 right now? If they just want to make it perfectly sound, or if they want to take it down and build something else, and how much that they would need. Now, there are funds on the capital, in the capital budget for the barn and also for the ice barn itself. So those would chip away, those would decrease how much you would actually need for something like that.
That's right. Yeah, there's a couple million set aside in those two barns right now.
Yeah, so it's not like you need the whole thing.
Right.
You would possibly, so if it's 4 million, maybe you need half of it.
Right.
It's a tough one because it's what's best for the community as opposed to what some of the community members kind of think that like no one's trying to go ahead with any plan. Like they're trying to find the best, what's best for for the dollars that we have. So
yeah, the best long-term investment too, because you don't
it's
want
a
to
tough one.
make marginal improvements that's going to need attention in another 3 to 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
There's always going to be ongoing maintenance. But that gets built into the capital reserve plan, right? I mean,
Yeah.
It's a big question. Big decision.
Yes,
Definitely needs community input, that's for sure.
Yes, I mean, so the good thing in terms of like funds already on that capital budget. When it comes to barn 8, like you're definitely not starting at zero. So it's not like
right.
We need all of this. It's just going to be half of it, or depending on how much.
Right. Okay, any other questions for Joel?
The only question I have for you, Joel, is it's probably a stupid question, but on your page 6 of your presentation where it says SVCA owned lots, there's that one little box. It's
Are these on the
past that page. It says it's page 6 of your presentation before you have capital projects report. I would hold it up, but my camera's not working. It just says Southern Valley Community Association lots and dues analysis.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know the one I mean?
Yeah, you're talking about this.
Yes. So my question is, when it says available 3 lots, are those the ones that we have put up possibly for sale? Is that why they're in that column?
Available, which column is this now?
Okay, you know the one that's kind of highlighted? It's almost all the way over to your right-hand side of the page. It's like the one that has like, it says SVCA owned lots as
Yeah.
kind of like a heading.
Yeah,
And it says restricted permanent, like blah, blah, blah. It says available 3 lots.
yeah,
Are those the ones that we have put out at, hopefully for sale?
yes, yeah, those are the 3 lots.
Okay, that's why there's 3 in that column.
Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't such a stupid question. Okay. I'm good.
Oh, no,
Never a stupid question.
Well, sometimes, but that wasn't one.
that's right. That was-
All right, that's just what I wanted to know. It just kind of jived with what we had done. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Okay, this,
Okay, anything else for the good of the order? Well, thank you all very much for arriving on time and
Yeah,
from
thank
all
you
parts of
for-
the world.
Yeah. Thanks for like our new members. I know a couple of you I had to twist your arm. But it's because you have expertise and we really appreciate you being here.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks.
All right. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Good night,
night.
everyone.
Good night.
It was good